Okay, welcome back. I hope you got to part 2 okay. We are just going to go over some basic behavior rules now that we know how to handle behaviors by function. So the first thing we would definitely want to do is have clear expectations and appropriate tasks for the students. I know this sounds really basic, but you'd be surprised how many times we see tasks that are too easy or too hard for specific kids. I had a student in my class who I told to sit down several times before I realized that the student did not know what it meant to sit down. So I had to teach that skill before I could have it as an expectation. So we just want to make sure that we know exactly what students can and cannot do before we set expectations. Number 2, we want to give lots of attention and reinforcement when students engage in appropriate behaviors. I know I'm sounding like a broken record on that one, but it's so important that we are giving more effort to positive reinforcement and attention than to any kind of consequence measure. Number 3, we do not want to overreact when problem behavior occurs. We often become cause and effect toys for our kids where they will engage in problem behavior and we'll give a big reaction and they think it's funny and they'll do it again. Or they'll get even more upset. So regardless, overreaction almost always escalates student behaviors. Number 4, we want to be consistent in your handling of behaviors. All adults, so teachers, special area, bus drivers, cafeteria, everyone who works with the student, and parents, must be on the same page with how to handle behaviors. We do not want students to think I can get away with this with one person and not the other, or I can act this way around one person and not the other. Number 5, do not engage physically. Again, do not engage physically unless it's absolutely necessary to ensure safety of student or other students. And only do this if you are CPI trained. And you should be CPI trained. So if you're not, then you need to talk to your administration and the autism support team, because you cannot do any kind of protective hold unless you are CPI trained. And that is only on an absolute necessity basis. Number 6, we definitely want to report all problem behavior to the teacher if the teacher happens to not be present during the episode of problem behavior. So if the teacher's out of the room, to the nurse, maybe taking a child for specials, we want to make sure that problem behavior is reported to the teacher and that you and your teacher work out a plan for data collection. Okay, so once we have figured out how to handle a behavior, we need to take it a step further. We need to teach students how to appropriately ask for what they need so that their needs are met. Our kids do need to have breaks. Our kids do need to have access to preferred items and activities, and they should be able to get attention from us when they need it. However, they should not use problem behavior to do so. So, for example, if a student regularly engages in problem behavior to gain attention, we want to teach them an appropriate way to gain attention. So this could be them saying, "Look at me," or "Hey," or they could learn a sign language, or maybe they could press a button on a communication device that'll say "hey" for them if they're not speakers. We could do a simple picture exchange. With kids who really struggle with some of these more advanced modes of communication, you could even use a card touch. Then when a student touches a green card on their desk, they know that they will get attention from you. We want to use whatever it is appropriate and most effective for the student. So every student in your class will probably have a different way of getting your attention. A nonverbal student should not have to use words. I can't tell you how many times I've seen people saying to a student who has never spoken, "Say please," "Say toy please," "Say I want the toy please," and the kid is never going to say that. So they may say it one day, but they're not going to say it in that moment. So we need to make sure that we have clear expectations for what an appropriate response is for that student. On the same page, a highly verbal student should not be using a picture exchange or a card touch. You should have expectations that are appropriate for each student and their developmental level. Okay, remember, when problem behavior occurs, it's not personal. It doesn't mean a student doesn't like you. And as a result, we need to make sure that we don't hold grudges against our students or have these really long-standing excessive punishments as a result of their problem behavior. So withholding recess for a week or not allowing a kid to play on the computer for the rest of the month, those things they're not effective, first of all. It's going to make the behavior worse. And it really is not appropriate. Our kids do not typically understand why that is being withheld from them, so we want to make sure that those types of punishments don't happen. In fact, even things like taking away recess that day, the majority of our students do not understand why they're missing recess, and it really serves no purpose. We definitely want to enlist the help of the teacher or other staff. You should never have to just handle excessive problem behavior without support. So definitely lean on your team, and also provide support to the rest of your team when they need you. Number 3, safety first. Make sure to provide safety of other students as well as the student engaging in the problem behavior. All right. A few do's and don'ts. Most of these we've talked about, but we just want to hit them really hard. Do give lots of positive reinforcement. Do teach replacement behaviors. Do remain calm. Do maintain the safety of the student and the other students in the class. And do report the incident to the teacher. Don't reinforce the behavior. So remember not to give attention for attention-seeking behaviors. Don't give students breaks when they're engaging in problem behavior to escape. Don't engage physically unless it's for safety reasons and you are CPI trained. Don't overreact, and don't give long-standing or excessive punishments. Thank you for your attention. We hope you guys have a great year. Really appreciate that you're willing to take this training, and we thank you again for all the support you give our students. We couldn't do it without you.